Previously on Mindful.
Perfectionism can lead to self-defeating behaviours that actually reduces one's self-esteem.
So I really hope that I'm not pulling out all of my skeletons.
We suggested to go and see a psychologist.
I feel like the mindfulness movement is booming. I think if you just strip it back to the basics though, like when I go to yoga classes, it's just about coming back to the breath. You don't need bath bombs and candles and incense. I think people are definitely capitalizing on it. When I used to tell people that I meditated, people think that that is so strange or so far-fetched and really hippie, but it's not. As someone who deals with anxiety, I just want to make sure that any type of technique or resource or service that I access is going to work. It's good to be here.
So what's been going on for you since we last met?
Really got to deep dive a little bit more into my perfectionist trait.
Yeah, great.
You know, along this journey, not only am I trying to help my viewers more and really be mindful of the kind of content I'm posting up, but I'm learning more about myself. What I really want to talk to you about is making sure the resources I'm recommending to my viewers are effective. So I know that there's a ton of different apps on mindfulness and meditation, but how do I actually know what works?
Well, I think you've come to the right place. My particular research area looks at all of the technology that tries to do this and establish whether or not there is a good evidence base for it. So one of the biggest challenges in our space is balancing what's true and correct about mental health with engagement and making apps fun and that people want to do them and stay engaged with them. So there's a couple of key things that we encourage people to look out for when they're on the App Store and looking for a mental health app. Is there any information about what the content looks like? Is it based on another type of therapy approach that actually has evidence? If you have used the app and you found that it's actually made you feel worse or it hasn't really worked, is there a way that you can give feedback to the developer or the development team about your experience? So we know that that's really, really important going forward for app use. A really good mental health app should have information in it about where you can seek help if you're starting to feel quite distressed.
If people do feel a little bit funny about seeing a psychologist one-on-one and making that appointment, because it is quite daunting, then there are still ways of getting that support.
These online programs and services can help you kind of break the ice.
Yeah, I thought that would actually be really cool to be able to reach out to developers and hear their story and then go from there in thinking about the kind of content that I can put out and the sort of apps I want to recommend to my viewers too.
Great, well I can definitely connect you up with some people.
We researched a whole bunch of different areas, like across psychology and mental health. And yeah, when you're feeling low or anxious, you pull out the app, basically say to it how you're feeling, and then it gives you like a quick list of about 5 strategies that you can do right now that have been scientifically shown to improve your mood. Then Mood Mission's able to look at how you felt before and after doing that mission, and kind of figure out how you cope over time. We found there are lots of apps out there that you could track your mood over time, but nothing that was sort of just there saying, well, how are you feeling? And then you tell the app how you're feeling, and then it can be like, well, maybe you want to try this. So this is just trying to take a bit of the guesswork and a bit of the anxiety about like, what should I do to help?
Mindfulness is a really amazing practice that you can build and a skill that you can develop that actually helps you with a whole lot of areas of life. Really important skills that help us manage stress, calm our thoughts and quieten the mind so that we can focus and pay attention and hopefully build up resilience. People always tell us, right, to pay more attention, especially at school, like pay attention, focus, but we actually don't get taught how to pay attention or how to focus.
Yeah, that's true.
Mindfulness meditation is actually just attention training. One of the myths that often stops people from even trying mindfulness is that it's a bit alternative. We all know people that have gone off to an ashram or done a long retreat and that's, cross-legged, omming. And so one way that we try and talk to people about that to overcome that myth is to sort of compare mindfulness to exercise, sort of like gym for the mind. So another myth is that if you practice meditation, you will have nothing going on in your head and you'll like feel like this Zen goddess, which, you know, just isn't true.
Yeah, just floating above a cloud.
Exactly. You know, our brains are built to think, thinking machines. We're not going to be able to stop the thoughts coming, but what we can do is not hook into them and latch onto them.
There are so many apps out there. I think I was just overwhelmed. I just felt more confident going to a yoga class or speaking to a psychologist because I didn't really, I don't know if I want to say, like, I didn't trust what was out there because there are so many apps and resources. And yeah, I mean, I know that there are some fantastic apps out there now, but I just didn't know which to look at. I think my biggest takeaway from the week was that when you recommend something like a yoga membership or seeing a psychologist, and I was doing that for a long time, I didn't stop and think, wait, not everybody can afford that or not everyone can access that. And as far as the stigma goes with seeking support, I think the more we talk about these kind of things, the more we break down that stigma. Everyone experiences levels of anxiety or nerves or feelings of, you know, being down or sad to a degree. So shouldn't we just talk about it more? It's the same as, you know, any other feeling. Why do we feel so uncomfortable talking about these ones? I know that I can only control what I put out there on my channel and social media, but I am really keen to reach out to some other YouTubers and influencers and just see what they think about this topic. Do they also believe that as influencers we have this responsibility to be more vulnerable on camera? And I think it's nice to be able to connect with other people, like-minded people in the same industry as me, and see what they think of the change in direction that I'm taking with my channel as well. Next week on Mindful. To say that I don't care what people think of me is a lie.
That can be a really scary process.
When you are in the public eye, we almost have like a sense of responsibility.
I'm organising a little dinner party.
Oh God, this is what I'm up against.